I've been confirmed for long-term hospitalization because it's been found out that I have leukemia. However, my family rejected me, saying it served me right. Then I finally realized that I am a person who isn't needed by them. When I said I wanted to cut ties with them, my family was overjoyed. But they still haven't realized it yet, that without me, there will be major problems. My name is Sally and I am a housewife in my 40s. My husband, whom I've been married to for nearly 15 years, is Michael. We have a daughter, Mia, who just became a middle school student. Now I live with my husband, my daughter, and my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law, who got divorced when she was young, also raised my husband by herself. Maybe she spoiled him too much, but my husband has a very selfish personality. After I started living with my mother-in-law, I started to see the true nature of my husband, which I hadn't noticed when we first got married. When my husband found out I was pregnant, he was overjoyed.
What did you say?
There's a baby in my belly. Ours, Michael.
Really? Thank you, I'm so happy.
From now on, let's overcome hardships together.
Of course, I'll try even harder.
But this happiness only lasted for a little bit. When it was revealed during the prenatal diagnosis that our baby was a girl, my mother-in-law said something terrible that was clearly a criticism to me.
Sadly, I've been thinking for a while, but you don't cook meat dishes, do you?
That's not true. I intend to cook a balanced diet.
You always have an excuse. Isn't it because you don't usually eat meat that the baby's a girl?
That has nothing to do with my baby.
Not at all. The baby is a girl, so stop acting like a pregnant woman. We only need boys.
Please, don't say such things. She's going to be your first granddaughter.
I don't care. This is really the worst. I shouldn't have allowed my son to marry such a useless daughter-in-law.
If they could see that the baby was healthy, they wouldn't care about the gender. I mean, that's what they should be thinking. My expectations were easily shattered. Over time, my husband also started to impose his opinions on me. Perhaps influenced by my mother-in-law, and Michael began to treat me coldly. Michael, do you want to go shopping for baby supplies on your next day off?
Do I have to go too?
It's our baby, right? I want to choose baby items together.
Whatever. As Mom says, only the essentials are needed when she's small because it's expensive as they grow up.
Even though it's our first child, you're being harsh.
Then buy what you need with your own money. I won't complain if you do.
What? My income, as I was on maternity leave, was minimal. I have to think about the future and save for this child. Paying for all the delivery expenses for the clinic and the baby supplies for my savings is honestly quite challenging. I had no choice but to follow what Michael and my mother-in-law said, and decided to prepare only the necessary baby items. What should I do if they don't love my daughter even after she's born? Contrary to my worries, Michael and my mother-in-law adored Mia after she was born. They loved Mia more than I had imagined. So much so that I didn't even need to worry. I planned to dedicate myself to parenting for a while after giving birth, but when Mia turned 2, Michael told me to return to work. I thought there would be no problem since my mother-in-law loved Mia as well. When I returned to work, my mother-in-law and my husband started to love Mia much more than before. My husband was spoiling Mia, doing the same things to her that my mother-in-law had done to him. I tried to discipline her properly when she did something wrong, to make sure she learned proper behavior. But it seems Mia didn't understand that it was out of love. Before I knew it, Mia hated me and was very attached to my husband and mother-in-law. Mia, let's go together. It's time for kindergarten.
I don't want to go with Mommy. I want to go with Grandma.
Mia, Mommy has to go to work too, so don't be selfish and let's go to kindergarten together, okay?
I hate Mommy. I love Daddy and Grandma.
Mia, please, don't say things like that.
No! Mommy, just go away.
My mental health was getting worse day by day due to my daughter's words. My husband and my mother-in-law, who were watching the situation, didn't correct Mia and looked at me with the faces that seemed to say, "You deserve it." These days continued for about 10 years. Even in middle school, Mia hasn't changed. She doesn't interact with me, she only clings to my husband and my mother-in-law. Perhaps because of that, my daughter has become a child who can't be controlled. She screams when things don't go her way and destroys things when she's upset. When I try to correct her, she starts to yell at me with full force. Mia, can we talk for a second? Did you steal money from my wallet?
Yeah, so what? You're my mother. You can give me allowance, right?
Taking without asking is the same as stealing, right? Please, give the money back.
No way! It's your fault for not giving me the Gucci wallet I wanted for my birthday.
You're in your first year of middle school. You don't need branded things yet. I can buy them when you're in high school.
I said I want it now. Why don't you understand, you old hag?
Old hag? Mia, watch your language.
You're so annoying. Grandma, Mom is bullying me again.
When I scold her, my daughter turns to my mother-in-law, who spoils her for help. And when my mother-in-law is called by Mia, she immediately comes to her aid and begins to blame me together with Mia.
What's wrong, Mia? Did Mom bully you again?
Listen, Grandma, she didn't give me the Gucci wallet I wanted for my birthday, and she won't give me an allowance either. How unbelievable, right?
That's too cruel. Your mom really is stingy, huh? Grandma will buy you the wallet next time, so cheer up, okay?
Yay! Promise, okay? I love you, Grandma.
Mia joyfully threw herself at my mother-in-law. Branded goods are still too much for her age. I thought it was obvious and clearly opposed my mother-in-law. Wait a minute, mother-in-law. Mia is still in middle school, isn't she?
So, we should buy her the things she wants, right?
But maybe not right now.
You're really stingy, aren't you? I feel sorry for Mia that you're her mother.
How could you say that? My mother-in-law spoiled Mia every day and bought her anything she wanted. My husband also pampered Mia and bought many branded goods that she wanted. In this way, our house was overflowing with branded goods that were barely used. In addition to the problem with Mia, there was another problem in our house. It was my mother-in-law's spending habits. I was the only one who noticed, but my mother-in-law was regularly buying these weird rings and bracelets. When I asked about it before, she said she was recommended by a friend. It seems that she has fallen for an MLM scheme. But even so, where did my mother-in-law get the money from? She's always buying things Mia wants too. When I looked into it, I found out that she was borrowing money from financial institutions. When I asked her about it when my husband wasn't around, she insisted, "It's none of your business," and wouldn't discuss it. Because of this, I, who grew to despise thinking about family matters, became increasingly devoted to my job. I started working overtime frequently. My husband and my mother-in-law criticized me for it, but I continued to work without any care in the world because I didn't want to be at home. Then one day, perhaps due to the exhaustion of working so tirelessly, I suddenly collapsed at work. I was rushed to the hospital by ambulance, and after tests, it was found that I had leukemia. When the doctor told me that people who are prone to illnesses are those who carry a lot of burden in life and those under stress, I was devastated. It was necessary for long-term treatment. So, I was hospitalized right away. I called my mother-in-law from the hospital. "Hello, it's Sally."
Don't bother calling me when I'm busy.
"I'm sorry. I collapsed at work and was taken to the hospital. I've been diagnosed with leukemia and I have to be hospitalized."
You have leukemia?
Surely she would be at least a bit worried about me getting sick. That hope of mine was soon gone. Then my mother-in-law blurted out to me,
It's a good thing you finally got seriously sick.
"What? What did you just say, mother-in-law?"
Honestly, I've been so annoyed with you every day I feel like this serves you right.
That's quite a thing to say.
Wait there, I'll have Mia on the phone soon.
My mother-in-law then handed the phone to Mia. What Mia said next was something I didn't want to believe.
Mom, and did you get sick with something?
"I'm sorry, Mia. I have to be hospitalized and I won't be coming home for a while."
Rather the opposite. I'm overjoyed.
What did you just say?
It's the best, not having the annoying old hag like you around. You always say mean things to me. That's why you got sick. Serves you right.
Are you serious right now?
Of course I am. Everyone would be happier if you stayed sick.
That's cruel.
Mia said, I have to tell Dad.
And hung up the phone on her own. In that moment, I wanted to abandon my family. I've reached my limit. I'll be the one to cut you all off. Mia is indeed the daughter I gave birth to while I endured the pain. I wanted to educate her in my own way and hope she would grow into a decent adult. Her current behavior is the result of her personality, which she was born with, and the way my husband and mother-in-law raised her. Some may think it's unfathomable for a parent to abandon their child, but no matter the blood connection, I'm not kind enough to forgive any further. I contacted my parents and asked them to bring clothes because not once did my husband, my mother-in-law, or Mia visited me during my hospitalization. Several months later, the treatment went well and I fully recovered. After being discharged, instead of returning to the house I had been living in with my husband, I returned to my parents' house and consulted with a lawyer I knew about getting a divorce. My mother-in-law and Mia immediately agreed to the divorce. Michael, considering public appearances, was hesitant about the divorce, but after being talked into it by my mother-in-law and Mia, he agreed to it. Since he cooperated it in a way that benefited me, we got a divorce and I was able to claim compensation. About 7 years passed since then. I moved out of my parents' house and was living alone near my workplace. Without any recurrence of the disease, I'm living my life energetically. One day, out of the blue, I received a phone call from Michael. His voice, which I hadn't heard in a long time, sounded extremely tired. He immediately started talking quickly about his problem.
Hello, Sally. Can you come back?
What are you talking about all of a sudden?
Things are really tough right now.
What do you mean?
My mother, she has been in a debt with a huge amount.
Apparently, Michael had recently learned about my mother-in-law's debt and decided to contact me. The long-neglected debt had become a significant amount, and it seems my mother-in-law could no longer hide it from Michael and had asked for his help. To my anxious ex-husband, I responded calmly. You're just noticing now? She has been in debt since I was still there, you know.
What? Since that far back?
She seemed to have been brainwashed into the MLM scheme. All the money she used to spoil Mia, it was all purchased with borrowing money from financial institutions.
I can't believe it. I had no idea.
I warned your mother several times, and I tried to talk to you about it too, you know. But every time I tried to speak up, you just complained, so I couldn't tell you.
But not telling me about the debt is terrible, isn't it? If I had known before it came to this...
Well, don't tell me that now. After all, I was in the hospital afterwards. You all never even visited me once, remember?
I'm sorry for that. Just help me out this once.
What are you talking about? I had reached the end of my patience. I let my emotions run wild, and before I knew it, I was shouting at Michael. You think you can just apologize and everything will be fine? Even when I was sick and in trouble, you abandoned me. I really regret ever marrying you. My anger silenced Michael. I let out everything that had been pent up until now. You should just end up in debt like your mother and suffer.
Calm down. I'll apologize.
Shut up! Coming to rely on your divorced ex-wife now is disgusting. In the background, I could hear Mia's voice. And then Mia, who took over the phone, said with a sad voice,
Mom, Grandma's in trouble because of her debts. Please help us.
It's none of my business. Don't come to me for help, okay? Mia didn't back down against my quiet rejection.
Dad's having a hard time repaying Grandma's debts. I won't be able to pay my college tuition and I'll have to drop out. Is that okay?
So?
Mom, why are you treating this like someone else's problem? Your daughter is in trouble.
Daughter? Who? At Mia's words, I couldn't help but laugh. Just when she's in trouble, she emphasizes that she's my daughter, when she's never called herself that before.
What are you laughing at?
I was just thinking how you're suddenly saying that you're my daughter when you're in trouble, even though you've been calling me an old hag this whole time.
That's a terrible way to put it. I'm your blood-related daughter, who's in trouble, you know.
But I don't have a daughter, you know.
What? No way!
I decided 7 years ago, when I was hospitalized, that I didn't need a family like you. We've divorced, so we're just strangers now, okay?
Mom, don't say things like that.
Quiet! Don't call me Mom because I'm not your mother. You should live happily with your father and grandmother who's in debt. Don't ever contact me again. You're just a nuisance in my life. With that, I hung up. To ensure they won't contact me again, I blocked their numbers. After that, it seems that my ex-husband and mother-in-law are working all day every day to repay their debts. They sold everything in their house to repay for the debt, but it was far from enough. Their situation was such that they could barely make ends meet, and they seemed unable to eat properly. My daughter couldn't pay her tuition and eventually dropped out of college. The branded goods she had been given were sold to repay the debts, and she seems to have been left with nothing. In order to repay her grandmother's debt, even my daughter seems to be working. My daughter seems to have no choice but to live a difficult life compared to those who's in the same age group as her. They really are stupid and hopeless. They all deserve what they got. As for me, I recently bought an apartment near my workplace. I plan to invite my parents and live peacefully as a family of 3. From now on, I want to live happily every day, cherishing my true family.